तपो विद्या विरक्त्यादि सद्गुणौगाकरानहं वादिराज गुरून् वन्दे हैग्रीपदाश्रयान् पूज्य राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तरवये वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरवे नमो अत्यन्तदयाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाप्तिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति मनोरथाः हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। ಈ ವಿದ್ಯಾಮಠದ ಗುರುಗಳಾದಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀ ಶೀರ್ಷ ತೀರ್ಥ ಶ್ರೀಪಾದಂಗಳವರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರವನ್ನು ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಗೀತಾ ವಿಧಾನವನ್ನು ಗೀತಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಚಿಂತನೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಗಿವ್ ಮೈ ಸಾಷ್ಟಾಂಗ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ವಿದ್ಯಾಶೀರ್ಷತೀರ್ಥ ಶ್ರೀಪಾದಂಗಳವರು and I am starting the session today. Bhagavad Geetha. So what is there the message for us and what is the message for Arjuna? So while Krishna is giving the Bhagavad Geetha Upadesha to Arjuna, that message also equally applies to all of us, because it is something not only that concerns just the battlefield behavior, but it concerns the everyday life that we lead, every minute of our life, the dharma chintana. So the dharma jnana that Krishna has imparted through Bhagavad Geetha, it is very, very important. So with that in mind, we have covered so far up to the 16th verse in second chapter, and that sloka is a very, very involved sloka. It has a lot of depth of meaning, and we have seen two levels of meaning, one based on bhashya and one based on tatparya, which are equally applicable to us. Like in the sense, in the bhashya, Acharya explains that this sloka, nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sataha. This sloka, what is the message that is conveyed in that sloka? So it is very beautiful, because in bhashya, our knowledge about the eternal things, like there are so many meaningless and eternal things are there that we come across in our life, and those eternal things, what are all the eternal things that we have to look in? For example, the things that we can see ourselves or experience, though the eternality aspect is incomprehensible, still we can gauge about the eternality of certain things like the space and time. For example, space and time, they are there at all times. So this is one of the important things that we have to see. And then apart from the space and time, we have certain things which are established only through agama pramana. For example, the existence of the Lord, Shri Krishna, like whatever names we give, the names are nothing, but the very existence of the Lord, who is eternal and who is all controlling, that is possible only through agama pramana, or the scriptural sound, or shabda pramana. And also the existence of jiva, our own existence, consciousness, though we have the awareness that we exist, but the eternality of the jiva is available only through shastras. Only shastras can tell us that the atma, which is eternal, or such an eternal entity exists. So that means apart from the scripturally established Paramatma and Jivatma, other things also, like time and space, they are also, the eternality aspect of it is clearly available only through scriptures. We can probably guess, okay, the space and time are also eternally available. That we can guess it. But for certainty, for us to conclude that time and space are eternal, that is available again only through scriptures. So this concept of the scripturally available, and also ubhayorapi drushtontas tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi, the second part of the sloka says that means it is available not only through scriptural platforms, but it is also available through traditionally imparted, like sampradaya, parampara, that is jnani sampradaya. That means knowledgeable people that they have passed on from generation to generation, what we call the traditional cultural aspects, that is available uh, in that manner also. That means that's why ubhayoho, in both ways it is available. So that eternality aspect of that, this is given, and this is as much applicable to Arjuna as much to us. So we also have to have this understanding of the eternality of things, and that is available in a clear fashion here in this Gita sloka. And in Tatparya, Acharya gave, as we covered in the last session, that only good things will come out of good things and bad things will come out of bad things. So Arjuna, for him, it is applicable because Arjuna was thinking that the Dharma Yuddha that he is going to participate in is not, no, is not for the good things, but so many bad things will happen. He was talking about Lupta Pindodaka Kriya and all that. And he was also talking about his killing his own people and Rakta, Sikta Anna. That means he says it is better to accept the Bhiksha rather than Rudhira Pradigdhan. So that Rakta, because by killing Bhishma, Drona, and so many close people, whatever they get, that is as if it's soaked in blood. So he didn't want that. So he was talking about even the evil things that can happen after life. And all this he was giving the logical reasoning, and Krishna refuted all of that in one shot. This sloka says, no, good things come out of good, and this is Dharma Yuddha, it is a good thing, so only good thing can come out of it. So that is for Arjuna. For us in real life, if we do good actions, we reap good results, even though not in the same birth, at least in the next janma, eventually we get good things out of our good actions and bad things out of our bad actions. So this will make us perform only the good acts in life. It will prevent or we will try to avoid bad actions, because eventually we will have to pay price for that. So karma siddhanta, that is also indicated by this sloka. So because, so asataha abhavaha, asataha bhavaha na vidyate, sataha abhavaha na vidyate. From asat, bhava means from bad actions, good will not come. Sataha abhavaha na vidyate. From good actions, abhava means dukkha, or bad things will not happen. So this is also conveyed, and this is indicated by Acharya and Tatparya. Apart from this, Acharya gives in Tatparya something that is applicable for everybody, for Arjuna and all, as well as for us. What are those things? Jagatsati, because this comes actually not directly from the slokas, but from the wrong interpretations of other schools. When other schools came and gave the wrong interpretation, this sloka itself refutes those wrong interpretations, because like Samskrita is such a deep language, it is possible for people to twist them to suit their schools, their thoughts, whatever is there in their Swamanisha Uttavachanani, as it's mentioned somewhere else. So whatever comes to our people's minds, people can twist it and interpret the sloka in that way. So in this sloka, whatever wrong interpretations were given, those wrong interpretations are also refuted by Acharya in Tatparya. So that is also applicable. So this is not a direct information that's available from Gita Sloka, but it is an information which is coming from the Gita Sloka indirectly, because people misinterpreted the slokas, this sloka, and Acharya, by giving the correct interpretation, he gave good understanding of the sloka. In addition, while refuting the other schools, the correct knowledge is also imparted, which is also very important. So, like for example, Jagat Satyatva. So that Jagat Satyatva is a very important concept. So Acharya says Vishwam Satyam Maghavana. In the second mandala of Rigveda, there is a statement which says the universe, this Satya, Jagat is Satya only. People say Vishwam Mithya, this is the thing that some schools are projecting it, and Acharya says, hey, this sloka cannot be given that meaning because it goes directly against so many pramanas which establish satyatva, a truthfulness of the world. So Vishwam Satyam Maghavana, and then also Yet Chiketa Satyamit. So whatever we are performing, it's all Satya only. And in Ishava Upanishad, we saw covered this also, the last session. Kavir Manishi Paribuhu Swayambuhu Yada Tatyato Arthan Vedathat Sashvatibhya Samabhyaha. So this Shruti Pramanas Acharya gives and says the Satyatva, the truthfulness of this universe is very important. So that concept is given in this sloka. And uh, another thing that was given in this sloka is the other people that they misinterpreted is they interpreted that Jiva Brahmaikya, that is also not available in this sloka. And then also the Bhranti, delusion and illusion. This is, like in English, we use the word delusion for Bhranti. We use the word illusion for Mithya. When there is a Bhranti, that is a delusion, what is Bhranti and what is illusion? Delusion and illusion. Bhranti and Mithya, what are those terms? What do they indicate? And why people mistake? What is the problem? And how we should understand those terms? These are very important. So let me ponder over that a little bit. Delusion or Bhranti is nothing but there is one real object you miss and you mistake, you means anybody, some the perceiver, the viewer mistakes that real object for some other real object. When that happens, that is a delusion. So an example is like the Advaitis gives most of the time. Rajju Sarpa is one example. Shukti Rajata is another example. And also Mrugatrushna also they gives that. That means what are all these examples? A rope and a snake. Somebody sees a rope and mistakes, oh, this is a snake, gets scared and run away. And there, what is happening? They're seeing the real rope and mistaking for a snake, though the snake is not there, the person mistakes it for a snake because of several reasons. One reason is there is a similarity. He has a knowledge of real snake. That's one reason. The second reason is he has the knowledge of similarity between the rope and the snake. And because of that knowledge of the similarity, and also there is what is called a little bit of darkness or something is there. So he mistakes, oh, this is a snake because the light is not, there's no perfect lighting is there. That's why he mistakes. So during the mistaken state, he doesn't know that it is a rope. He always thinks it's a snake. So the mistake is realized only after the correct knowledge is obtained. Before the correct knowledge, during the mistaken state, the person is still under the wrong knowledge only. What Advaitis they do is, they think that there is an illusory snake at the rope. They call superimposition or adhyaropa or adhyasa. So this adhyaropa or adhyasa, they interpret it as if there is actually an illusory snake is there at the rope. But that is not the case. There is no illusory snake. There is no snake at all. No illusory snake, no real snake, nothing. It has only rope. And scientifically also, what happens is the rope is what the person, the viewer, the image, Vastu Sthiti is the rope only. Vastu Sthiti is not snake. Never. It was never snake to start with. It is never snake during the mistaken state. It is not a snake later on also. It's not that he mistook for the snake. There was an illusory snake. When the knowledge came, the illusory snake went away. No, there was never a snake. There was no such thing as illusory snake. So this delusion is a problem with the viewer. The retina, the image of the rope only falls on the retina. Inside the person's brain, what happens is the information is transferred from the retina to the brain, and the brain is interpreting the image of the rope as the snake. So the mistake is happening inside the person. It is not happening at the rope. It is happening inside the person. So the people, the Advaita, what it is doing is, it is taking this Bhranti, the delusion. This is the delusion. The delusion is the problem. The issue is with the person. He is mistaking the rope for a snake. And in reality, there is always one rope only. This delusion is mistaken as an illusion, and they think that an illusion of snake is happening there. And they compare this with the real world. What happens is, the real world, they think Brahman is alone is real. There is no such thing as the world. This Vishwa itself is all delusion only, because illusion, they say. They say, just as a person sees a rope and mistakes for a snake, we are seeing Brahman and mistaking it for the world. This whole universe is actually Brahman. It is not world. It is not Vishwa. It is Brahman. So this is the interpretation that they give. The issue with this is, first of all, for a person to mistake this to be a real world, the person must have earlier knowledge of a real, because the person who mistakes the rope for a snake, he has a clear knowledge of a real snake. That's why he mistook for the real, for the snake on the rope. There's no snake in the rope. He mistook the rope for the snake. It's not that there's a illusory snake in the rope, is not the case. He mistook the rope for the snake. Here also, they interpret that there is ajnana, ignorance, which is like a darkness. The person saw the Brahman. We are all seeing the Brahman. All of us, we are seeing the Brahman. All of us mistaking it for a snake. That is, here snake is the world. The world, the Brahman is mistaken for the world, just as the rope is mistaken for the snake. Same way, the Brahman is mistaken for the world. This is the interpretation that they give. The problem with this is, the person must have the real knowledge about a real world to mistake it as a world. And secondly, there has to be a similarity between Brahman and the world. They should be exact. Brahman is, they themselves call this Ekameva Advitiyam. So Brahman is not like anything else. Is also not like the world. So Brahman is like the world is a wrong interpretation even according to the Advaita, because Advaita says Ekameva Advitiyam. Brahman is unlike anything else. Brahman is not like anything else. So he is not like a world. He's not like a real world, because he's different. So we cannot, no one can mistake Brahman for the world. So this simple common sense interpretation is completely missing in Advaita. So they give this example. In fact, every single example that Advaita gives, it actually refutes Advaita, because this rope and snake, if we take the rope and snake, they have a lot of similarity. The person has knowledge, earlier knowledge about real snake, and he mistaking for a snake here. There is no snake here, but there's a real snake somewhere else. Now, if all of us are mistaking for the same mistake everybody is committing, everybody is mistaking Brahman for real world, then what really is there Brahman? But we are mistaking, and we are thinking that there's a world there. This is their interpretation. If that were the case, then we should have had a prior knowledge of real world, and also there has to be real world somewhere else, maybe several real worlds, because though there is no snake here at the rope, there are real snakes elsewhere. So many real snakes are there. So that means there should be so many real worlds for this world to be a mithya prapancha. So this is a big, big blunder that they are committing. So we, the example that they give itself refutes Advaita. So there is no way all the jivas are mistaking this Brahman for the real world. Now let us assume this also. At least, okay, the human beings have this delusion. They are mistaking Brahman for the real world. What about all the animals? So many animals. Every single animal also thinks this world is real. I mean, within that animal's brain. So, of course, they'll say, okay, all those animals are also mistaking for the real world. That is an absurd very ridiculous and too much of a claim. And there is absolutely no Shastra Pramana for that. There is not a single Shastra Pramana which tells that this world is actually an illusion. So this is biggest blunder that they are making, and that is also clarified by Acharya in several places. And in this sloka also, Acharya explains beautifully in several ways, and he refutes all the Shankaradvaita, Bhaskaradvaita, and other wrong schools. Everything Acharya refutes, a lot of wrong thoughts are Acharya does not mention this is the Siddhanta, that is the Siddhanta, or a person or nothing. Acharya gives just beautiful concepts. He explains logically what is the issue, what is the problem, how it has to be understood correctly, what is the wrong understanding. That's all Acharya gives, and this is very important knowledge. And this knowledge Bhagavad Gita gives a lot of scope for us to acquire this good knowledge. And in the next sloka also, after all these are covered, then the next sloka, another beautiful concept is given in Bhagavad Gita, which are also very much relevant for all of us. And that it talks about avinashitva of this whole thing. Says avinashita tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyasyasya nakaschit kartumarhati. In this 17th sloka, it says avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam. So this whole universe is pervaded by Paramatma, and that Paramatma is avinashi. Avinashi tadvidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. This entire universe, which is pervaded by Paramatma, or the Paramatma, one who pervades this entire universe, he is avinashi. He cannot be anadinitya. He cannot be destroyed. Nothing can harm him. So he is, and this, while giving this, a beautiful secondary concept, the hidden concept is also given, which Acharya explains in Bhashya. He says, Kim bahuna yad deshataha anantam tad nityam. See, Paramatma pervades this entire universe, and whatever pervades this entire universe, that means anantatva, because Paramatma, anantatva means limitlessness. He unlimited, limitless pervasion. Whoever is deshataha ananta, that means space wise, whichever is unlimited, that means whichever pervades the entire space, that also pervades the entire time. That means deshataha anantatva implies kalataha anantatva, but not vice versa. That means whatever is kalataha ananta cannot be deshataha ananta. What does it mean? It means this. It means whatever is all pervading, that is anadi nitya also. That means it is beginningless and endless, time wise also. Space wise unlimited, then it has to be timeless, time wise unlimited. But other way around need not be true. For example, jivas, they are time wise unlimited, they are beginningless, they are endless. Jivas are eternal. Whatever is eternal doesn't have to pervade entire space. Jiva doesn't pervade entire space. Only Paramatma pervades entire space. Jiva does not pervade entire space. That means whatever is kalataha ananta need not be deshataha ananta. But whatever is deshataha ananta has to be kalataha ananta. For example, space. Space is everywhere. Space is there everywhere. And space is there at all times. Avyakruta akasha is all pervading, and avyakruta akasha is also eternal. So, and similarly, time is there everywhere, and time is there according to eternally also. Time is there eternally. Time is pervading all over any space, anywhere in the universe. You go there, there is a time. Time factor is there all over the universe. And also time is eternal. That is true. And then varnas, if you take aksharas, that means not the lipi, not script, but the sounds. they are all pervading, because wherever we go, that sign a, e, u, aksharas, varnas, they are eternal. I mean, they are all pervading. Anywhere in the universe you go, you have the you can utter, right? You can say the sound a, e, u, you can pronounce, you can say something. So the varnas are there. Varnas means letters, aksharas. They are there all over entire space. They pervade all over space, and also they are eternal time ways also. So the varnas which are present everywhere, they are present every time. That means they are beginningless and endless. So this gives us a good concept. Whatever is deshataha ananta is also kalataha ananta. This beautiful concept is presented in Bhashya. So this is a very nice concept. And this sloka, Acharya uses and he says, Vinasham avayasyasya nakaschit kartumarhati. This thing which is avinashi is also avyaya. What is the difference between avinashi? That means non-destructible, non-diminishing. What is the difference? Diminishing means, of course, something can be non-destructible, but it can have a mutation. I mean, theoretically, it can have a mutation. So that just because something is not destructible does not imply that there is no reduction in size. For example, something is like, say, as big as this mountain, and after, say, 100,000 years or a billion years, it may come to half its size, let us say, hypothetically. That means there's a diminution in size. Like that, if a question is raised that this Paramatma, who is Avinashi, does he have a diminution? That means, can he reduce in size? That means something, he becomes smaller. Is that possible? No. So he is Avyaya also. That means nothing can diminish him also. Nothing can destroy him. Nothing, no force, nothing in the universe can affect him. Nothing in the universe can reduce his size. He is immutable. Immutable means avikara, vikara rahita. He cannot be mutated, or he cannot undergo changes. That's why it's called achyuta avyaya. Achyuta shabda gives avinashitva indication. Chuti is not there. So this achyuti, that means nasharahitatva, is indicated by achyuta shabda, and avyaya shabda indicates nothing, vikarahitatva. Nothing can make him come down in size, diminish. Nothing can affect him. Basically, he's unaffected, he's indestructible. That, and that is naturally understandable for us, because we already have some concepts about Paramatma. He is eternal force who is undiminished, who is indestructible, because he's Swatantra. Swatantra is independent. Everything else depends on him. He does not depend on anything else. Because of his Swatantra Lakshana, naturally, something has to destroy, means it should have control over him. Something that controls him alone can destroy him. Nothing can control him. So naturally, nothing can affect him. So he is indestructible because he is Swatantra. So this quality, all these qualities of Paramatma, they are all interlinked, and one implies the other. Because he is Swatantra, he is indestructible. He is indestructible, and also he is immutable. And even the other indestructible things, whatever is there, for example, Kala, Desha, which are also indestructible, they have their indestructibility given by Paramatma. Paramatma gives them indestructibility, so they are undestroyable. They cannot be destroyed, because Paramatma is protecting them. He is pervading them, and he is giving them that eternal protection. For example, Kala Antargata Kala Niyamaka. So he pervades the time. He is present in every segment of time, and he gives eternality for time, and he is saving, protecting the time. He pervades the space, and he is protecting the space. So whatever other things are there which are indestructible, they are indestructible because of the grace of the Paramatma. Even Jiva is Avinashi. Jiva is also Nitya. But that Jiva's Avinashitva, Nityatva, that means Swarupa Nityatva, it is given by Paramatma. It is protected by Paramatma. But Nasha is actually, we'll cover it probably in the next session. This Nashatva has multiple aspects of the, Chaturvidha Nashatva is talked about. It's a long concept, so we may not be able to cover it completely today. So, but I'll just mention it. There are four kinds of Nasha that are discussed, and this Paramatma alone is the one who does not have any of these four kinds of Nasha. All others have one kind or the other kind of Nasha. How Paramatma alone is Chaturvida Nasharahita, and all others have at least one kind of Nasha. How that applies, how it goes, we'll talk about that in the next session. But in this session, I will kind of stop here temporarily. So if any questions are there, people can feel free to ask the questions and I'll answer the questions. Otherwise, we'll cover other concepts, this Chaturvida Nasha and how Paramatma alone is Chaturvida Nasha Rahita. These concepts we'll cover in the next session. So all these concepts are not only relevant for all the devatas, they are relevant for all the manavas, they are relevant for all the sadhakas. Every sadhaka for us, not only they are relevant for our spiritual sadhana, even for our daily day-to-day life. If we have this notion that Paramatma is the inner controller, what we can learn from that, what we can benefit from that is when we talk to people, when we interact with people, if we have the good understanding that Paramatma, as the indwelling force, he is present in all of them and he instigates them. And if somebody is nice to us, if somebody is harsh to us, if somebody affects us, if somebody hurts us, if somebody pleases us, all these are happening because of the will of the Paramatma and because how Paramatma instigates other people, instigates us, and gives us phala according to our karma, how he directs everything. He is the absolute controlling force for everything. So if we have this concept in our daily life, in our every moment of our life, we will have a different kind of outlook towards life, and we see the invisible hand of Paramatma in every aspect, every thing that we come across, every person we come across, how Paramatma controls them. If we have this thought process, we don't have to think about it in a very conscious way. No, think, oh, let me think how God is working through them. We don't have to do it in a very conscious and voluntary way. It has to be like an instant thought in the background, working at all times without our knowledge, like a second nature. It has to become like a second nature for us. It has to be, okay, Paramatma is the one who makes all things happen. And if something bad is happening to me because of my previous karma, it is happening, and Paramatma is making me go through all this. He is the Swatantra. He is Madi Madi Suva. This concept that we use in our, Kannada, we say, one who as Bimbarupi present in us, making things happen. So this concept, if we have a good understanding of this concept, our perspective in life itself will be different, and we take things in a right perspective and conduct our life in a very matured and fruitful way. So this is a practical thing that we acquire from learning not only Bhagavad Gita, but all the scriptural studies that we make. Every scripture that we go through, we have to see what is there, the message that we can use, that we can apply in our life. This practical concept we have to develop and make it our life, a fruitful way. And with this, I pass today. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैव बुद्ध्यात्मना वा अनुसुस्वभावं करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणाय समर्पयामि. श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु. Hare Srinivasa.
There are no questions today, sir.
Oh, okay. Very good.
And Vitavacharya has gone out, so he was also not able to come and attend. So
Oh,
as of
okay.
now, on
Sure,
YouTube,
sure.
there are no questions.
Oh, okay. Very good. And if people have any questions later on also, they can put it in the WhatsApp group or anywhere. They can feel free to ask questions, and I'll be glad to answer any questions later, because sometimes people may get the questions later on.
Right,
So if
right.
they get questions later on, let them feel free to ask questions. And because these are very
Sure.
important
Sir,
questions.
what I will do is I'll post this complete pravachana on that
Yeah.
WhatsApp group and then open the group for questions.
Yeah, that will help, because these are very deep concepts, and people may be hesitant to ask questions. So if we encourage them and ask them, feel free to ask questions, maybe then they will ask questions. And if people have problem, like, to convey the question in English, some of them, they can ask their questions in Kannada, Telugu, or any other language also. And as an audio clip, they can ask questions and I can answer them also.
Right, sir. We'll do that. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Sure. Tanya. Hare Srinivasa.